Sophisticated people on Wall Street, et cetera, didn't realize, I mean, some did, but a lot of them didn't realize how far down that went.
When Bloomberg's masterclass continues, Win Smith sums up what life at Merrill Lynch was like under former CEO Stan O'Neill. Having left Merrill Lynch earlier this decade and gone back to private business, Win Smith has a unique vision of the world, which once consumed most of his time. In our final segment of Bloomberg's Masterclass, Smith has some advice for the students at the University of Florida regarding his old Wall Street colleagues.
Yeah, the real world makes real things, and it gets paid a reasonable amount of money, okay? Look, I spent 30 years on Wall Street, and I loved every single second of it. I do it again. I think the vast majority of people in the firms I dealt with have high ethics, really enjoy what they're doing, really think they're doing the right thing for society. But the reality is, New York City and London, aren't the rest of the United States. And when you get out into a small community like the one I live now in Warren, Vermont, you realize that, people are very happy they get by earning $50,000, $60,000 a year. In many ways, they have a different set of values. They're looking at the environment differently, the economy different. They're very much into locavore food. And, they're living a very healthy, life. They're intellectually smart. Some of the people I see there are as smart as anybody I've seen on Wall Street, but they've just, chosen to do things very differently. And I think, the real world outside of the major New York and California areas are very different. And what I think you're seeing right now is I think you're seeing anger. And that's why you're seeing a populist movement, because people don't understand how their lives have been affected by these financial wizards and, how they can't get access to credit and what's happened to their 401k and their IRA, and now they can't afford to retire or send their kids to school. So that populist anger, in real America, I think is out there, and what I hope is going to happen is it won't result in bad regulation for the wrong reason. But there's going to be great pressure to get those guys that made this problem.
It's my understanding that Merrill offered both Goldman and Bank of America a 9.1% stake. What is your opinion if that would have happened? Would Merrill been able to survive?
I mean, there certainly could have been, some different ways that Merrill could have raised capital. It had to raise capital at that point in time. Again, I think the strategic fit potentially of Merrill and Bank of America is very strong. Merrill considered a lot of things over the years. I always remember a comment that Walter Wriston made, to digress for a second, when he was asked back in I think it was the mid-'70s or early '80s after we came out with the CMA account. And when there was a debate about Glass-Steagall, and somebody asked him at a conference, what's your vision of the future bank? And his answer was, it already exists, and it's called Merrill Lynch. And so over the years, there have actually been a lot of people interested in Merrill Lynch. We came very close to merging with Chase. And that actually could have been a great strategic fit. It didn't happen for probably the normal reasons in a merger. Not sure what the leadership team was going to look like, whether it was going to be Chase Merrill or Merrill Chase. There were discussions with American Express a couple of times over the years, and we always determined, at the end that we would rather be independent and we'd rather be the acquirer instead of the acquired.
That wraps up this edition of Bloomberg's Masterclass. Thanks for joining us as we saw firsthand what future decision makers and Wall Street pros thought about Bank of America's Saturday morning decision to buy Merrill Lynch. Until next time, I'm Carol Biaggi.